Well, hello, welcome to Digital Influence. I'm Dallas McMillan. Today I'm interviewing Natasa Denman. Now, Natasa helps business people and others write books. And as someone who's tried to write a book myself, I know that's no easy task. And I know Natasa has a secret that lets her get books done quickly and with a high success rate. So I'm intrigued to hear, and I'm sure other people will be too. So welcome, Natasa. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Dallas. Thank you so much for having me.
Fantastic. So I think I first came across your name on James McCracken's show, and he's got a great interview with you as well, which people should check out if they want to know more about you. But yeah, I want to talk to you personally about what you do, and perhaps start off just giving us an overview of your business.
Yeah, sure. Well, I started out in business coming up to 7 years now. And basically, I started out as a life coach, which didn't really mean anything. As soon as you sort of qualify as a coach, you realize that you have to niche. And I ended up niching originally in weight loss. And that was my very first book that I wrote, was The 7 Ultimate Secrets to Weight Loss. And I happened to just have this natural knack in developing products. And obviously, I wrote a book without anyone's help. Nowadays, I wish I knew that people like me existed. But as that journey progressed and I was helping a lot more other coaches, health and wellness practitioners and service-based business owners write their books, I realized that, and through my own experience, that I ended up writing a book over a weekend. So I developed a brand called Ultimate 48-Hour Author. This was 3.5 years ago. So it took about 3.5 years to get to that $1 million idea, if you like. And then launched my first retreat, and literally it's been going from strength to strength, and we're now about to go out to the 15th retreat, and we've helped over 150 people publish their books in the through the 48-Hour Author blueprint, if you like, and we just love making service-based business owners famous.
Yeah, fantastic. And it must be a real thrill to see so many people getting such solid results with what can be a life-changing experience of writing a book.
It truly is. I think it's first of all a transformation on a personal level for people, and therefore their businesses then transform because they increase in self-confidence, self-worth, and belief in their message and expertise, which then sees the businesses grow.
Fantastic. So why do these people want to write books? I know a lot of people have that inner desire, but other people are terrified at the idea of writing a book. What is it that drives most of the people who attend your workshops to want to write?
Well, some of them, it is a strategy to build their business. So to be known and seen as the expert, as the authority in their niche. But for others, they come along and it's a healing journey. And something that they want to have as a legacy, and their message is stronger than their fear around standing out or being criticized.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so what are some of the benefits that they get that they didn't expect? Because I'm sure it's one of those things that we don't know much about till we do, and then the benefits can be diverse.
Yeah. So as I said, most people kind of just go, I just want to write a book, let alone they don't understand that actually it's not about writing the book. It's about the person you become at the other end of it. And a lot of people get that, as I said, as the first lot of transformation. No one has ever said to me, I wish I didn't do this, or no one has ever actually come and said to me, oh, Nat, now people are criticizing me or whatever, because a lot of people's biggest fear is that they're going to get criticized or maybe tried to be torn down by those around them, but it actually doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So that's a false fear that they have. And what I love to see is when they actually win over clients and they start getting people coming to them rather than them having to chase a business and work, and everything just seems to become easier. Getting speaking gigs becomes easier. Filling your own workshops and events becomes easier. Everything, the media considers you for a lot more opportunities if you're an author versus if you're not an author. So like this big, I have this mind map that I have drawn up, and the book is your central point, and it's got like about 20 different prongs of the leverage you can create with your book and the opportunities that it brings. And I keep building onto that because I keep discovering new ways. I keep using my books to get my foot in the door in places, even corporate paid speaking gigs that I just fell into my lap. I didn't even go looking for them, that kind of stuff, because I've been an author, have come to fruition. So I love it.
Awesome. Now I'm intrigued by the fear of being torn down and attacked, and that the book seems to be the antidote for that. And that's really interesting because it's such an issue, I think, for Australian entrepreneurs or experts, is that we've got the whole tall poppy thing, and no one wants to be the guy who's sticking their neck out or being louder than everyone else. But it sounds like the becoming an author is in many ways respected, whereas being a self-promoter through other channels isn't. So that's a really interesting distinction, which, you know, I think so many people, that the imposter syndrome or the fear of criticism is like the biggest thing holding them back or stopping them reaching their potential. And, you know, I've never heard that it seems to be, yeah, it's quite rare once you're an author. So I think that's particularly fascinating.
It is rare, and you actually don't feel like you're selling anymore. It kind of like, this is what I own this message, and therefore people just come to you and go, how can I work with you?
Yeah, cool. I guess if anyone does give you any criticism, you say, oh, look, have you read the book? And then
yes,
they've got to go away, don't they?
It's the antidote, as you said. I love what you just said. It's the antidote. I've never said it that way.
Yeah, yeah. Fantastic. So why do people want to come and write a book in a weekend? And I mean, I know the answer, but tell us more about the challenges people have writing books on their own. Yeah.
Oh gosh, every time I start a workshop, and I do this half-day event all over Australia and taking it to the US this year, I get people to put their hand up if they've been thinking about or doing and writing their book for 5 to 10 years. And I tell you, more than half the room's hands go up.
Wow.
And I go, seriously, how can you be bothered waiting that long, you know? And I say, because I'm really impatient and I want results and I want progress and everything like that in my own life. And yes, because I want that for myself, that's why that's how I'm able to teach it to others. So cuts out procrastination. It's a focused approach whereby people get maximum momentum over the weekend. Like, they have set aside time frames, and you've got certain tasks you have to complete within the time frame, which means there's no wasting time and you know, sort of just procrastinating around other things that you have to do. So it's really focused. It's really like the community around you actually ends up making you, almost pushes you through to the completion. And yeah, people do it because they're busy and they want to come away, get it done, and then keep going on with building their empires.
And it really is a huge factor, being in an environment surrounded by people who are doing the same thing, like having to do the homework when everyone else is doing it. I guess we've sort of grown up going through school where you couldn't get a kid to sit down for half an hour and do anything, much less maths, but you put 30 of them in a room and most of them do it. And I guess we're just so conditioned to, you know, being part of a group and having those shared goals and people to support us in the process.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's one of the most, I guess I didn't see it as a benefit until one of my mentors pointed it out. He goes, you know why your program is so successful? It's because you get that power of mastermind and community happening. And even, they're not just accountable to you, they're accountable to each other. Yeah. And that's a big part of why also that people choose us. Accountability is a huge part of it.
And what do you do to create the right culture in your workshops? Because getting that sort of atmosphere right must be part of your secret sauce.
Yeah, well, I always pre-frame and tell people what my core values are, and they're 4 F words. And I say, if you don't like these F words, then you have you're not a match, and we're not going to work together. So my 4 F words. No, fun, fast, fame, and family. So fun is we're going to have lots of laughs and be very lighthearted and not really, you know, sort of serious and all that. Fast, we're going to progress through this very quickly. You've got to be able to keep up with everyone and what we're doing and why we're doing it. And obviously fame, you've got to want to stand out. We're going to teach you how to stand out. We're going to teach you how to be seen. So if you don't want to build fame around what you do, then this is not the path, you know, for you. And that's what I love to teach. And obviously family is there because we like to treat everyone like our family, because our retreats are between 12 and 18 people on average. And they do become very close-knit with crew and everyone. We end up going away about 20 people at a time. And, you know, they do become, you know, even though it's 48 hours together, but it's intense 48 hours. So everyone has little creates connections and sort of this lifelong memories that happen. And even beyond the retreat, we are in each other's lives quite a lot, because we see people grow and achieve the successes that they go on to achieve. And we all want to, sometimes I end up collaborating with some of my authors, and they really step up and grow. And, you know, we hope that they will outgrow us because of the things they're going to be creating with their books.
Great. And what if, so it sounds like it's a very high performance environment, which is great,
Yes.
and exactly what you want for an accountability group or mastermind. But what if someone is has some challenge, like they really struggle to write, or, you know, a learning difficulty or something like that? Have you had situations where someone's different, and how did you sort of manage someone going at a different pace to the rest of the group?
Yeah, so we've had lots of non-English speaking authors, so probably taken through about 10 of them who has a very thick accent and all that sort of stuff. We have had people who are dyslexic, and actually dyslexic people are the ideal people for our program, because it's the ideal way to execute their book, because we do it through speaking out the content, so they don't have to be typing and all that. And there's people who choose to type versus speak, which means it'll take longer. So we always say everyone's on their own journey, but ultimately we want to see you holding your hand at the end of this program, whether it's in 3 or 4 months, which is the fast track people, or it's in 12 months time. It's still you're gonna still do it faster than anyone else, you know, that has ever sat down to write their very first book. So, so we have got, my husband's more in, if you like, an accountability role, or customer service, if you want to call it, the old-fashioned way. And he's always ringing people up beyond the retreat, making sure they're on track. I've got automated accountability set up for them as well, to tell them what stages they need to be at, little videos that they get, and so just to keep in track. And we're always basically available to them, because we work with no more than 100 clients a year at a time.
Cool. And do you see your role as still being a coach in some ways, or, you know, how much has your role shifted?
Totally, because when they get that mental funk come up, because not feeling good enough or all that kind of stuff, which even after they've committed to the process, that's where your coaching skills come through. So a lot of the time, I have always said coaching is a tool you use in pretty much every business, but it's not the business itself. You have to solve a problem, like write a book, build credibility, get known, or whatever. And then through that, as people encounter their roadblocks, you coach them through it.
Fantastic. And so what is your process? You mentioned that part of it is that you read the content. Do you sort of provide a structure for them to talk into?
Put it this way. Everything has been dumbed down so that anyone can do it, even a 14-year-old kid can do it, because we want people to find it easy, and you know, they want to feel like they're succeeding along the way. So there's templates for the book unpack, there's templates for the chapter unpack. Actually, after this call, I'm doing 2 also preps. So I prep them for 2 hours, whereby we unpack their book, we make it sexy, so that make sure it's, you know, attractive to their target market. We then unpack a chapter. I demonstrate how they will speak that out, because they're not reading fully written work. They're actually just having an A4 page. Actually, I've got it right next to me, since I'm expecting my author. So like, that's the chapter unpack template, and sorry, the book unpack, and that's the chapter unpack. You can see little quadrants and all that sort of stuff happening. So so we go through that process. We go through a pre-weekend checklist. So they've got checklists and templates for everything, and they just got to execute that. There's about 10 hours of homework. So after I do these 2 hours with the people, they do 10 hours of homework, and they can attend their retreat because they're ready, and I've got everything ready to speak it all out. There's about 5 hours of spoken content that equates to a 40 to 45,000 word book. And which is your 160-page book, and then that book goes to transcription. So the recordings go to transcription. We have a professional transcriptionist who's also a professional editor, who does a pretty good job, rather than giving you back just a blob of text. So it comes back to you. Of course, you do a final cleanup. If you've missed stuff, if you want to add, expand on it, whatever, delete stuff, then you do that. You cut and paste everything in order, and you send it off to the publishing team, which is also lined up for you. So we've got everyone lined up. So it's not just mentoring through our program, it's an end-to-end, so that You don't have to look for any more experts. You don't have to look for any more deals or packages or not know who you're going to get, because we've vetted and checked these people out like obviously 150 times now.
And
Yeah.
so the result is it a printed book, or do you go to Kindle, or what's the setup?
Yeah, both. Yeah, both. So our authors currently get 500 printed books in their program to get them started, and then they get their book set up for international distribution and print on demand. At the same time, obviously, international distribution means you'll be on Kindle, you'll be on Barnes & Noble, you'll be on all of those online resellers all around the world. And the print on demand option gives you the ability for you to sell a book in the US or sell a book in Europe and charge the same amount of postage. So $5 worldwide postage, because you go into the system, you put in whoever bought it, their address, and someone else prints it, someone else handles it, and you kind of just have done the delivery without having to move a finger. And that's so worth it. And it's kind of like, I think, around the $10 mark, that all of that printing, delivery and all that sort of stuff for one per book. That's pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Awesome. And what about sort of promotion and marketing? What role do you have in that?
Yeah, huge. But 30% of our program is about getting the book done. 70% is about what you do with it. So really, when I meet people, I say, look, just when you're committing to this, don't think you're just committing for a weekend. You're actually in a 12-month program. And in that time, you're going to learn so much. Like tomorrow here in Brisbane, I'm running a 2-day Bums on Seats masterclass. It's all about how to run your own webinars, seminars, and retreats, and utilize your book to get more people in rooms and all that sort of stuff. The other week in Melbourne, we did a social media masterclass. We've got a sales mastery masterclass coming up in July. So we've got all of these 2-day additional events that we actually allow our authors to come back to. And the model will slightly change next year, but it'll still, a lot of the education for me is to teach them how to grow their business behind it. Because one thing to write a book and end up having it sitting in your garage probably for years if you don't do nothing with. Another thing to have a book and to be constantly reprinting and taking and getting rid of books and just spreading your message.
Because that's certainly one of the things I've learned in the time I've spent in author programs and things, is that, you know, writing the book is a big step, but then you've got an asset, but you have to leverage that asset in order to get
asset. Yeah, correct.
Fantastic. And what are some of the most popular ways or most effective ways for authors to get results? Like if you had to sort of pick one or two things that people could use their book for to create the biggest impact, what would they be?
Yeah. Speaking would be probably number one, because getting the gigs and then speaking and selling your book off the stage at a very minimum. But also I always bundle my book with something. I always say, hey, here's my book and here's my ticket to my workshop. So you have that bundle for a certain price. And then people come along to my workshop and then progress to my program, the ones that are a good fit. So that's one way. Of course, social media is huge. Like you can use your book as a lead magnet. So this is the offline strongest strategy, is to use it, you know, for speaking and getting the opportunities to speak. The online strategy, I would say, use your book as a lead magnet. So have your book available as an ebook, either give away your first couple of chapters, you know, to keep growing your list, or give away the whole thing if you want, you know. And I think that's what we'll be doing for your listeners, is giving away the whole version, the whole 160 pages. Because what I say, Dallas, it's that books are information and knowledge, but implementation is where transformation occurs. So for me to give away my book, it's not a big deal, you know. I know most people read it and probably they won't do anything about it. But those that actually get inspired by it, they go, that's really cool. They'll look me up. They'll find out more information. They'll turn up to my half-day event or whatever else, or a webinar that I'm doing, and then we'll have a conversation about actually doing implementation. So I always say you always charge the least, or you give away free information and knowledge, but it's you charge premium, obviously, for implementation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And what about those sort of free plus shipping type sales funnels that people often do? We're probably all seeing those. Yeah,
totally. I haven't done it. I considered it at one stage. It's good to send someone something tangible, because they more likely they're going to do something with it. They're going to it feels good. Actually, in my events, what I do is when people walk in the door at the event, they get my signed book on the spot. I sign it, personalize it for them, and they sometimes don't even realize they're getting a book. And that's been an awesome little strategy for me. Even though we advertise it on the landing page, no one reads that part. And so they come in, I give them, oh, here's your book as part of your ticket, you know, and they go, oh, wow, thank you so much. All of a sudden, they have this instant liking to you because you've given them almost a tangible gift, and they take it home. And I always say to people, I am probably the most read author out of everyone, because people always meet me, then they get the book, and they're more likely to read my book when they've met me than if they've just bought it off some online place. Yeah.
Very cool. And so I'm curious how long your workshops are. So that, like, these social media workshops, are they half day or 1 day?
The masterclasses are 2 days, and we do allow general public to come in and, you know, take part in them. Like, we charge a low cost of $247, cool. which is totally affordable, but it's a way of us building a relationship, a way of us also, a lot of our authors will be in there, which means that, you know, there's great social proof, right? So in a way that adds value to the community and the authors, but at the same time it exposes our brand to the wider public, and they get to come and hang out. They go, oh, wow, you know, all of this is working, obviously. And so I'm excited about the one tomorrow, and at the moment we're co-hosting them with Francesca Moy, who I wrote the book Bums on Seats with. Yeah. So I'm at her house right now.
Awesome.
Been staying here for 2 weeks.
Great. I just chatted to Elizabeth Campbell a few days ago, who also wrote about Natasha, about Francesca. So awesome.
Yeah.
And so are you based in Brisbane, or are you just there for this training?
Melbourne. Yeah,
okay,
just here for 2 weeks. This is the end of a national tour. This week is intense, 8 days, and then I finally get back home and have hopefully a bit of a breather in April, because before I hit the US in May.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
That sounds terrific. I'd love to get along to one of these master classes. So if someone does become a member of your program, like they do the full-on retreat and then the master classes, how many events or contacts do they have you with you all up through the year?
There's 4 master classes a year, so they can they're welcome to come back to as many as they want. You know, obviously they only run in Melbourne or Brisbane. We do 2 in Melbourne, 2 in Brisbane a year, because that's our home cities, and we can, you know, we generally have the biggest networks in those places, and also clients, and we have heaps of interstaters flying in, because it's worthwhile for a 2-day program that most people out there in the marketplace will charge $2 to $3 grand to attend. This is an amazing opportunity. So they get those touch points, they get their retreat. We have a webinar, monthly support webinar that my husband actually runs on Tuesdays once a month for 90 minutes. Plus probably about 150 hours of filmed footage in the background so if they miss the masterclass, I film it. So we've been just uploading the social media one from Melbourne the other week. I'm nearly there. I've got 2 more videos to do. But once that's there, guess what? Then the footage grows and my offering grows. So when new authors sign up, and the ones that can't fly in, I go, okay, well, you missed it. 2 weeks later, here's the whole thing. Sit down, spend 2 days watching it. Well, those that are going to be successful, they are going to invest the time and they're going to study. And those that are not, they're going to say, oh, I'm too busy and whatever. But nevertheless, the footage, the 150 hours of everything I have filmed over the years is there. So no one can say, oh, I'm not getting enough value, because it's really, well, you've got to step up and take ownership and actually do the work if you want to get the results.
Awesome. That sounds like a great model, where you've got the content creation is actually happening in live events, so it's not too much hassle to do, because I know
only the video editing. Oh my god, the video stuff, and because we don't edit it super like professional, but we edit it to a point that it's got a starting title and an end title, and you know what I mean, like, you know, in different episodes, so chunks it down for people, so they're not sitting there for 8 hours. We just kind of go over a 2-day. We have 8 sessions, and so those will be broken down. So that's what we'll be doing this whole weekend. Once it's up, it's like, again, it goes on your table of offer. Okay, you get this. So at the end of this year, we're going to have 4 full masterclasses filmed of different content that our people can access. And yeah, the live stuff's going to still keep happening, but it's good to have the option to give them the film stuff, because then there's no excuse really for them not to watch it if it's really important.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you must be quite an expert at live events after these years of doing
Yes.
retreats and things.
Yeah.
How much is that sort of your core business now, having to run these live events? Because that's something I often talk to people about, is that, you know, when you're going into something like doing online marketing or events, then that starts to become your actual business, you know, one of your primary business activities, and you start becoming almost an events business in a way.
You are, yeah, totally. You are an events business. We did 100 speaking gigs last year. 50 was hosted by me, and 50 were me being a speaker for someone else. And yes, it's intense. Like, as I said, in this 30 days, we're probably going to end up having done 20 events. And it's exciting. It's very tiring, but luckily we block them out in periods of time where boom, 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 you do lots. And as I said, in April, it's going to be a bit of a breather. Then May is going to be intense with US and all that sort of stuff. And then again, we're going to have a breather. So I reckon 3 to 5 months out of the year, it's really intense. And the other times, like I take 4 months off a year, fully out of the business. So I take the school holidays off December and January with my kids. And then now America, we're going to do a whole month just pleasure, not just business.
Correct.
And yeah, so it's work hard, play hard, but it is... Events are, gosh, 90%. At the moment, I am part of a course where I am learning how to do like a webinar style funnel. And that's my ticket out of doing as many events. Not that I will fully drop it, but it's my ticket to like just maybe wind it down a little bit and maybe do 50-50.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds great. And so if people are sort of thinking about writing a book, what are the signs that they should think seriously about, you know, investing in your program or getting more serious about it? I guess perhaps who are the people who just really should do it, so that they sort of self-select? Who is it that just should write a book and stop thinking about it?
Those people, well, for me, the ones that I help, because I don't help people who want to write fiction or children's books. Like, they're just not the genre we work with. We work with those who want to leverage their expertise and also provide some kind of a life or business transformation for others, right? So how do you know? Well, if you don't have enough clients, if you don't have enough credibility, no one knows you from a bar of soap. That's where I started. Some people are of the thinking, get famous, then write a book. I'm of the thinking, write a book and get famous. You know, and that's the journey I've followed. So you can only teach the experience you have had. And I would say 80% of my clients are new and then get famous, and then 20% do have big followings and are well off already, but then they need the book because they haven't done that yet. So how do you know? You just usually a book thing is always in the back of someone's head, and if it keeps coming up and you keep seeing a few signs, then go along to a workshop so you can learn a bit more about it, because sometimes it can just seem like a mysterious world. But it's not. When you work with people who know what they're doing, it's just step 1, 2, 3, 4, and just follow the actions.
Awesome. And so if they're interested in going a bit further with you, how do they get in touch, and what are the first steps? What's the journey like coming to work with you?
Cool. So first steps, I mean, aside from coming along to a half-day event, which, as I said, we run those all over Australia, obviously they can check out all of the info on the website, which is ultimate48hourauthor.com.au, but I have got a couple of gift things that I have set up for you guys if they electronically want to get involved rather than face-to-face, first of all. They can grab my book in ebook download at that website, ultimate48hourauthor.com.au/gift. Or they can watch my 45-minute webinar on the 5 shifts that you need to make to write your book in 2 days. And that's just /webinar. So ultimate48hourauthor.com.au /webinar.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah. Pleasure.
And so what cities does your live event go to?
All capital cities in Australia, you know, even Canberra. Perth, Adelaide, Canberra, Gold Coast, Brisbane. So I do the 2 spots here. I'm even thinking of coming up the Sunshine Coast later in the year. But yes, Sydney quite a few times, and now the US. So, so yeah, And all of that is on the events tab of our website. So whatever's coming up, people can look that up and book themselves in. And it's a lot of fun. And as I say, you get a book, an actual book when you come to the event. Don't forget that.
Awesome. Okay, so that's ultimate48hourauthor.com.au, and I'll put a link in to both the gift and the webinar on the interview page. Well, that's fantastic. Sounds great, and we also check out those marketing type events as well, which are on the events page too, I guess.
Yeah, everything's on there. Like, it's now we've even organized it even neater, because there's just so many, as you say, and we go, how can we consolidate everything under one? And now we've got one page for all cities rather than every city having a separate page.
Fantastic. All right, lovely. Well, thanks so much, Natasha, for sharing your expertise and journey. Great to hear that it is possible to get that book done quickly. But then, of course, as you've said, there's time for the publishing, and then the real work starts of marketing and promotion as well.
Yes, so you can author your way to riches.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I'm sure people will be keen to check out those gifts and extra training. If you had one tip for someone who's passionate about something and wants to turn it into a business or follow the entrepreneurial path, what would it be if you were giving advice to yourself when you were setting out?
I guess don't wait for all your ducks to line up, and the best time to start is when you're not ready. And no one ever feels truly ready, I'm going to do this, because everything's organized and all that sort of stuff. But if you have that desire and the passion and you want to make something, you have a vision, you just have to keep chipping away every day and be super consistent. Fantastic.
Great tips. Awesome, Natasha. Well, lovely to speak to you, and I'll look forward to meeting you in person sometime.
Yeah, thank you.
Lovely. Have a great day. Thanks.